Okay, let's talk a bit about consciousness and what consciousness is, and then we can add our current reality in there as well in the mix, and we can show how that's created and yeah let's just start with putting this thing together from the very basic, which would be the consciousness. So I've chosen this white piece of paper to basically demonstrate the purest form of consciousness. uh, I wouldn't call it white light, I would call it the colorless color. So let's start with consciousness, which is this piece of paper. So consciousness, we can call it pleroma. We can call it the infinite. We can call it unconditional love. We can call it the absolute. Oneness. Uh, it doesn't really matter. I think you guys get the idea. And you have to remember that that we are using words to describe the ineffable, and words are just like a blanket that we throw on things that we don't understand to give it shape. So don't get too hung up on individual words. They Let's just try to focus on the bigger picture. So consciousness. What consciousness also is, it is nothing. It is absolutely nothing. And it's not nothing in a way that let's say that you're looking for your car keys in your pocket, and you put your hand in the pocket, and the keys are not there. So you might say that uh, I have nothing in my pocket because the keys are not there. But on a conscious level, you know that you're missing the keys. But in the consciousness, there's never anything missing. It's the completeness. That's what pleroma means. It's completeness. It's the wholeness. Like on the material reality, you might say that I am holy, Holy. But here you would be holy with the Wholy. So you would be complete. With this nothing, you can never be missing anything. Absolutely nothing. We can call it no thing. What also is not here is no time, no space, no agenda. So yeah, I feel like the consciousness is starting to sound like a pretty boring place, but it's not actually a place in any sense of the word. And like I said, in that no thing, in that nothing, there is this profound completeness where everything is all at once and nothing never exists. And so how do we get our so-called reality, the life that we've been living? How does that work in this consciousness concept? And it is very, very simple drawing that I'm gonna do, because my inner child wants me to do that in this way, just so that all the other inner childs will understand it as easily as possible. So I'm just gonna draw our reality. Let's call it reality at this point. We're gonna break that down in different ways, but I'm just gonna draw it for you guys. Okay. That is as simple as it's gonna get. So this would be the reality that we've been living in, basically. And this is not only my reality, this is also the reality that we all get to share together. And it might not make a whole lot of sense right now, but we're gonna be adding up to this. So eventually, I hope it's gonna make sense at some point. So in consciousness, there is no thing, there is no time, no space, no agenda, and all that is actually projected here. So and time is, I'm just gonna write it down. So here in this reality, the only thing that we have is now. And outside now, there's always nothing. There is no past, no future. There's only now. Nothing outside now exists. And so nothing, no time. And this is basically, this is everything. And one of my favorite sayings currently, and what now is, now actually, if we were to switch that to current moment, which is now, current moment literally means a constant flow of energy. A current is a constant flow of energy. So your energy that you are projecting into this reality is in constant flow. That's what now means. Now means a current moment. Current means a constant flow of energy. So this is where your energy is flowing at all times. No matter what you're doing, it's always flowing here. And so here you have everything. And what, like I was saying, like one of my favorite sayings right now that I used to use a lot before as well, but now it has kind of a different meaning. It's not a meaning, it's a perspective. So I like to say that nothing matters. Nothing matters. All the material happens here. Nothing matters. And once you kind of understand that nothing matters, then everything that happens here becomes more precious, because you know that it's coming from that beautiful nothingness. But we'll come back to that. And so this is what we could also call that this might also be called the matrix. We can write that down. Matrix. So let's do that. And matrix is just mind / material tricks. And just like before we started drawing anything on the paper, it was just like a blank canvas. And I've now put the now in there. But if we think about this as a blank canvas, the whole concept of matrix comes with a lot of stigma, and it's associated in a way where it's usually seen as something negative. But actually, the matrix, if you want to call it that, it's always neutral. The matrix it in itself isn't positive or negative. It is exactly what your mind tricks make it out to be. And if we so matrix, we can call it reality. And so everything, like I said, it's mind tricks. It's not like nothing exists outside your mind. Nothing can ever exist, because that's just the basic thing, basically how it all works. Like everything materializes through your mind. There is nothing material outside your mind. So instead of seeing this as something negative, it is just how you project into this blank canvas. It can be whatever, and most of us have been living in this reality through our subconscious mind, and it's almost like being a passenger in a car that is just going randomly to different places, and you might feel like you have no say in it, on what's happening here. And but once you become conscious about how this works, and I hope that this will kind of make it click for at least some of you. But so then you kind of get behind the wheel. You grab the wheel, and now it's up to you on a conscious level what you want to do here. And it can be whatever. There is no hand manual to say that you need to do like a list of things that you need to do. Like that's the okay, we can dive into okay, so this would be your life. This is what I would call your life, and my life as well. This is like the life that you are living in right now, because nothing exists outside the now. And so then we start to get into the nitty-gritty on how we operate in this. I'm gonna do a separate video on just this bit, how this all functions, the mechanics, and like just on how everything functions on an individual level and on the collective, as a collective. But right now we're trying to paint a picture of how consciousness, nothing works with now, how our life is created or projected or manifested. Like I said, words are just a blanket that we throw on things that we don't understand to give them shape. So okay, so here would be your universe. Let's put it right here. Let's start here. Universe. Let's break down what universe is, what it means. It also has like a, on the outside we kind of tend to think that it's a thing that happens on the night sky with the Milky Ways and galaxies and whatnot. So there would be the universe. But uni is one, and verse is a line in a poem. So what you get to do in this matrix reality, whatever you want to call it, is you are able to project your universe here, and it is completely up to you. Like, so your input is the universe. Your universe is the input to the collective. Like I said, I'm gonna break it down even further when we do a video about just this section, but just to keep this reasonably short. So universe, one verse. This is your opportunity to add your verse however you want to do it on the let's do it, put it there, like where everybody gets to put their input, their universe, because every single universe kind of gets to mingle together. That's how the collective is created. But so there is a universe, yeah, and then we're gonna add all with the double L. universe all. So here, this is the universe all manifestation, projection. And then there's individual universes. So there's kind of like an underlying beautiful rhythm, which is universal. And then everybody gets to do their own verse on it. So, and like I said, it's completely up to you how you want to do that. You will you will get to do it whether you like it or not. Like I mentioned, the matrix thing comes with the stigma. So people are looking for like getting rid of the matrix, or they see this reality as something so bad that they just would like to exit that, the matrix. And we're gonna get into that very shortly. But so for this to make more sense, let's continue with the drawing. So your universe is projected through your mind, body, spirit. Mind, body, spirit. And your universe comes through there, and you add your, because we all come from that pure light, the colorless color, and we turn that into color through our prism, mind, body, spirit. And mind creates the body. The spirit is always there as an attachment point to the infinite. And now if you think about spirit, so that's your universe projecting. So it comes through your prism. This is the house you need to have in order. So basically a perfect balance between the mind, body, spirit, or not even a balance, but a conscious understanding that you are projecting as your mind, as your body, as your spirit. And now, because there's so many universes manifesting in this same reality, I'm just gonna, for the demonstrating purpose, I'm just gonna add that this would be your universe. So this dude or dudette would be you. I'm not sure how it looks, but I just drew like a stickman there. And here would be another beautiful universe. And they get to share this together. But you can see how it's all connected. We could draw like billions and billions of these, and we could add everything that we have here and do a separate head on it. But just so you get the idea of how this works. So this is kind of the basis of why we, or not even why, but how we get the dualistic experience in this reality. And going back to that, being a passenger of your subconscious. If you're being the passenger of your subconscious, you see everybody as a separate uh, you kind of miss this point, and you still miss your own connection to everything as well, because uh, you're not aware of the consciousness being the thing that connects everything together. So if you are still the passenger, let's write that down. The passenger of your subconscious. So then you're not realizing that everything comes from the same source, the consciousness. And then everybody that you meet here, every situation, every single thing, thought, whatever, acts as a mirror that you can reflect your own universe. And I would call that a mirror verse. So once you're still in your subconscious as the passenger, and you don't see how you're all connected, then these are great opportunities. And it's not just other people, it's situations, it's everything. Like everything acts as an mirror, as a reflection. And it like, I'm gonna, once we dive into this section more, I'm gonna do a more in-depth explanation on like how everything functions here, how the inner works with the outer, how like all the dualistic, the polarities and all that. We're gonna go through all that in the next installment to this. But as for right now, when you're looking for, like, everything, when you're still in the subconscious mind, everything on the outside is just your own within in a disguise. But because the disguise is so good, you don't understand. You don't have the understanding of so that person that I'm having this conversation with actually might be part of the same consciousness. And those reflections are very, very valuable. Like those are there. Like everything here, it might seem very random when you're still the passenger. But the more conscious you become about this, you start to have the understanding that everything everything happens for a reason. Everything is part of the same universal plan, and everything is just doing their own universe. And because nothing matters, you kind of, once you get to the understanding of how this is where we are all connected, then consciously you get to do, or your approach to each situation, your perspective about everything changes. And that's how this is whatever you project outside. And the so-called negative things, or negative experiences, thoughts, whatever. Let's say that this is the unconditional love surrounding this, which might seem like a very chaotic reality with all its sadness, badness, famine, wars, whatever. Like, it's all here. But so is everything opposite of those. There is abundance, there's love, there's like everything good and bad happens here. Here, there's nothing. And and so your matrix, like just okay. There's two different examples, like people who would like to exit the matrix, or then there's the so-called spiritual well, people, whatever. I'm just writing it down. And what they are also wanting to do is, usually this exit, the need for that exit to happen is because you're not happy living in the now, and because this might seem very chaotic every now and then, or most of the time, if you're still the passenger here. So, but then the spiritual gurus and all that nonsense, well, not nonsense, but they are also kind of doing the same thing. They are selling you the idea of leaving the now and going back to the unconditional love, okay? To the oneness. So the people wanting to exit the matrix, and this so-called spiritual people who want to exit this same place because they want to go to the unconditional love, or the oneness, or the absolute, back to the pleroma. So there are ways to exit, and I can show that it's pretty simple. So, okay, first of all, for the people who want to exit the matrix, if you follow what I've been saying about the now, the everything that this life actually is. So the only place you can exit from this reality is back to nothing. There is no alternative like versions of this. There isn't like there is nothing outside the now. Nothing. There is no like there would be another one waiting for you here if you raised your awareness, or you were able to figure out how to exit the matrix. There is, once you leave this, you go back to nothing. There is nothing outside this. This is it. It's always been, always will be. This is everything right here. And so for those who want to go to the pure unconditional love, this will cease to exist. People who want to do just the oneness, this will cease to exist. This experience will be gone once you exit this reality. There is nothing outside the now. Nothing. No thing exists out. There are no alternative realities waiting for you. That no, it's only now, and there are ways to exit, and you can do it in. Okay, let's put down a exit strategy. how do you spell strategy? Strategy, I guess so. So let's put down our exit strategy. Okay, so number one, the easiest, the simplest would be death. Once your earthly journey ends, you always go back to nothing. Always. I can do another video or do an add-on on the so-called incarnation, how that works with the death and coming back to this reality again. It's very simple as well. So death will always take you back to nothing. Always. The more, just like a quick glimpse on how the death reincarnation works. So in because if you are still in the subconscious as a passenger when you die, it's just you're kind of leaving the door open because you don't know how to close the door yet. And I'm not saying that you should close the door or open the door or do whatever. It's all up to you what you do here. And so, okay, let's say that we have now established a way out with the death back to nothing. So that's number one. Number two would be silence and stillness. And this is what you can do consciously, whenever, wherever. Like, if you want to have that conscious connection between the nothing and everything, the now and never, or there is no time here, silence and stillness is a great way to remember that connection. Once this all quiets down in the silence, stillness, then the only thing that is gonna be left is nothing. And that once you establish that this your perspective changes, like, towards everything after that. And the third part of the exit strategy that I can think of right now would be no, that's wrong. Falling into a profound trust. And falling into a profound trust. So what is this trust what I'm talking about? It is the trust that this nothing exists outside you and you're part of it. And it's not like how do you say, like, fake it till you make it. So you can never fool your own conscious way. Like let's say that you would try to manifest that, okay, I'm one with the nothing. I'm like blah blah blah. But on the fundamental level, you have that tingle in your spine. You're having like a doubt. So then whenever there's doubt, this will be doubtful chaotic environment. But those are like the three ways to experience the consciousness on the most tangible way that we can do it. And the going back to the spiritual people, like once you have the understanding after after you've sat in silence, you kind of found your way back to the nothing. Then you will get the understanding that like the so-called spiritual, and I've been a spiritual seeker for most of my life. And so once you kind of understand you're part of this, now the whole concept of seeking anything is like, let's say that you go on a path, you have a path. Any path from the now will only lead, let's say the center would be the consciousness. So any path can only lead away from that, like from the absolute truth. So there a saying that seeking is a subtle form of violence against now. So whenever your mind is trying to become better, become more aware, become enlightenment, then you're never able to live in the now. Like if you have that lack or that feeling that I need to get better, and this is not trying to discourage anybody to like just be passive in your life and just stay on a couch and do nothing. That's not what I'm trying to get across here at all. It's actually once you understand this connection and you grab the steering wheel, you become conscious of what you manifest, what you project here, then okay, so yeah, so that's how you get to change everything. You get to change everything here once you understand this from within. You can never change this guy, can never change this guy unless this guy does it from within. Everything changes in this reality. I don't care who you are, you can change absolutely everything. Nothing is out of your jurisdiction once you learn to come from within. And a beautiful thing, all the suffering that we do here, and I know this from my personal experience, the suffering always leads us to go within. Always. That's our guide. Like all the so-called bad things that we experience, they always lead us to within. And love will never do that. Love always comes from within. It's something that we let flow outwards from us. So that's the difference of like that's why the dualistic, the polarities are so like the opposites. Like let's say this is bad, this is good, so called. There are no good or bad in this. It's just a perception of things. But let's say this is the bad guy, this is the good guy, and this guy sees the reflection. instead of seeing this as something uh, that you would need to fight over or need to change, that this is a perfect way of seeing the whole. Like here, the whole spectrum goes from good to bad, north to south. Like it's just, this completes this at all times. And the more you try to fight it, that there's gonna be more and more friction, and this place stays more and more chaotic. And yeah, so people who want to exit this because they're not happy how this is, like, let's change exit into liberation, so you can liberate yourself from the so-called negative experience by learning how to go back to nothing, and then your universe in the universe all will become whatever. It's not up to me to say how your universe should manifest. And what else? Then, okay, so let's say that these are two souls. So what is soul? Is soul same as spirit? No, soul is the spirit having the experience. Spirit is always connected to the infinite. Mind, body are just, mind creates the body and all this. But spirit and your soul is connected to the spirit. And two souls basically means they are two cells of the same construct. That's what soul is. So they are the same, and like just within our bodies we have all sorts of cells within our bodies, and as within so without. So if you think about, the sun doesn't shine on itself, or the fruit tree doesn't grow the fruits for its own consumption. So once you kind of come from that to here, there is no need to change anything about the reflections you see anymore, because on the fundamental level you have that inner peace that you are part of everything. So now this becomes a totally, well, it stays the same, but the experience changes. So instead of exiting, liberation, you can liberate yourself from the so-called negative. But I don't think, like, I'm not sure if anybody is ever gonna be able to actually see this video, but if there are, usually they are not people who have had the nicest experience here and they've been all happy and it's been all sunshine. Something negative has led everybody to that inner search, and the search can be very, like the whole school of so-called spirituality. It is right now it makes very little sense to me anymore, because you are you are everything, all that there ever been, all that there ever will be, and nothing exists outside your universe. So so the idea of you having to do like a regular schooling system, which the spirituality usually is, you have to practice this mantra to get to that level, you need to vibrate higher to get to that level, you need to get rid of that to be better, you need to focus on that, blah blah blah. All that kind of goes away. And I'm not trying to downplay anybody's experiences, I'm just using my own experience as an example, because I've done all of that, and it always led me kind of like just bouncing like between the line here, and I was not able to get across here, but now that I have, so let's say the easiest, silence and stillness, the only thing that requires, there's absolutely nothing you need to do when you're doing this. The only thing that I would say that it requires is discipline. That's the only thing. But don't be hard on yourself if because the mind will be there trying to give its own voice to be heard at all times. So, but there is a threshold. Let's call it, this is the threshold. And once you go back to nothing in your silence, and you come back to your reality again. So basically nothing changes here, but everything changes, because now your perspective is completely different. And another, okay, I'm just gonna write down, let's do awakening. So what is awakening? That's another spiritual word, and it sounds like it's something magical, something you should aim for. Like I need to wake up, I need to be awakened. And what awakening means is change in perspective. So awakening is changing perspective. Kind of like it's kind of like the first step. Now we're doing the spiritual school thing that I just said that it's. But just let's just keep this on a demonstrating purpose. So you kind of awake to this idea that this might be a thing. So now you're waking up to this idea. So what is awareness? What is awareness? Like that's like that's one of the biggest sellers in the spiritual world. You need to raise your awareness. You need to become more aware. And that's usually where the guidebooks take you. Just become more aware. Raise your awareness to become more spiritual. Spiritual is just spirit, you all. It's just spiritual is our own collective, all the spirit collectively experiencing. So awareness of what? What is this magical awareness? What should you be aware of? Like awareness is not consciousness. Consciousness is nothing. Awareness has some sort of focus on it. So what is that awareness? What should you be, or why should you be raising your awareness if there is no like meaning behind that? But this is where we get to the awareness. Once we understand, we get the understanding of this, going back to nothing, being part of everything or the consciousness and coming back. Now we can say that we are aware. We are aware of this and this. That is the awareness. Like after you realize this, you become aware of this. So then you get to see that you here, you're not just like a drop in the ocean. You are the whole ocean in one single drop. That is your universe on the universe all experience. So that should be quite empowering once you get the understanding of that. And so let's keep going. Let's we can do, let's do God. God is it's kind of like one of the, I don't know what it even is. God is, I feel like God is very personal thing. Like to some it's tied into religion. Creation. But okay, so based on this, I don't know if this makes any sense to anybody, but so based on this, if I were to ask you, what is God? What is God? Or, well, I could ask who is God, or but what is God? Based on this, is God here somewhere? Is God here somewhere? Over here? Is God doing stuff there? Is this God? Is awareness God? Is consciousness God? What is God? Or is there God? Is God even a thing? So God is God is everything and nothing all at once. That's what God. Nothing is, and nothing can be separate from God. There is nothing outside God. God is in everything and in nothing. It is everything and nothing all at once. That's what God is. Trying to put face on that, well, you can do that. So God, that's God. What else should we do? We can do, let's do enlightenment. That's like the when you graduate from the spiritual school, you get to be enlightened. No, that's meant. Sorry about that. So what is enlightenment? Is it like the most highest frequency that you get to do once you have graduated your spiritual path? What is it? What is enlightenment? It has the light in there, so light mind, a light mind, enlightenment, a light mind. So what is enlightenment? That's actually a pretty it's one of those things that it's too easy. It's too easy. Too easy thing to actually see it, or like me telling you that the God is everything and nothing all at once. I'm sure there are a lot of people who feel kind of empty after that. Like that's not the answer they were looking for. They wanted something else, something more, and that's where we get to expectations. Expectations are all most always likely to fail, and that's where we get to sadness and disappointment once those expectations are not. But if you sit with that, God is everything and nothing all at once. So let's get back to the enlightenment. Enlightenment is the complete absence of resistance to what is. That's what enlightenment is. If you have any resistance to what's happening here, then you are not enlightenment. And that's okay. That's completely fine. This is not something you should like spend your whole life trying to chase that. No. It's a thing when you realize the no thing, and it's just like I said, it's the complete absence of resistance to that what is. So you will not have any need to change anything here. And that's kind of, I can do a separate video on attachment and detachment, but that's kind of the basis of that. And lastly, let's do a nice one. Let's I'm sure there'll be more. Meaning of life. Okay. So, living in that subconscious mindset, being the passenger of your subconscious here, living in that chaotic feeling that like everything is just random, everything is just bad, everything is like there's no meaning there. So, meaning of life. So this is your life. This is your life. This is where your life happens. So based on this, and we're gonna call it a day after this, what is the meaning of life? What could it be? And I'm sure this will be just like the God thing. This will be like, no, that cannot be it. It has to be more. Okay. The meaning of life is, drum roll, dun da da. The meaning of life is you. That's what the meaning of life is. This is your meaning of life. How you experience this, it's the meaning. That's all up to you at all times, at no times, whenever. So just gonna leave it there. Let's put one more thing. Let's write down be available. Be available for life. Be available for life. The meaning of life is you. Take it what you will. Thank you so much for everybody who actually watched the whole thing. And whether you like it or not, I'm gonna do a follow-up video on this section, how we actually operate here. And then we can do detachment, attachment. We can do inner and outer. We can do masculine, feminine. We can do all that stuff. But the next one will be me going through this experience here. Thank you. Have a good one.